Fortnite OG, a game mode that has confused us theorists since its conception. I think we finally got an answer for what it is. The recent OG pass has Devourer reskin, whose base style is a spirit, since the original Devourer was killed in Chapter 1 from the mech. But new skin also has a cube form, which is very, very interesting, since the OG version of him wasn't ever related to cubes. It reminded me of Shadow Midas and Ascendant Midas' Shade form, which are both ghost versions of the character after he had died, just like Devourer. The fact another character from Chapter 1 is being related to cubes is what sparked this specific theory I got. You probably didn't notice this, but during the Remix finale event, before we go to Onigashima, we go through this wormhole, which some of you might recognize from the Ariana Grande concert, which Donald Mustard confirmed is a TLR brain scan. This, combined with the fact OG was introduced the following season, in Chapter 6, Season 1, shows that OG, along with most characters from OG, are not the original characters, like Lynx and Drift, since those two have lives. So they are separate from the OG characters despite sharing memories, which explains the greatest hits quests. It also explains why certain parts of OG are changed, since they are based off of memories that won't be exact. I don't think OG is based purely on memories, though. I think there is some TLR tampering going on, with Geno most likely being placed on the OG map since they don't have visitors' brain scans, or OG Devourer being revived with a cube form. But along with that tampering, I do think that TLR is making the characters corrupted, since a couple of them, like Lynx and Drift, have like a dark style. In Chapter 6, Season 3, an old IO agent came back to the story, that being Core. Core showing up was weird, since we last saw her partying on the beach and vibing. But like Lynx, she was originally IO, but now is helping a big bad who worked for the last reality. Lynx and Core also line up pretty well, with both characters who weren't really important until they showed up again in TLR. And if you still somehow have doubts about OG being the last reality, show me this. How many people have we seen leaving and entering OG? Go. It's only been 3. Geno, Revan, and Voyager. All of them related to last reality in some way. In my visitor theory, which is really good in my opinion, even though I got a ton of stuff wrong, I proved that last reality has some control over who can enter and leave OG, with anomaly containment protocols made for visitor being decommissioned before Chapter 7 Season 1. I was talking about Revan previously. Let's talk about him now. I have a mini theory where OG mirrors who is good and who is evil. Visitor in Chapter 1 accidentally let Kevin onto the island to cause trouble, and OG, Visitor, who is Geno, accidentally let Revan onto the island as well, but Revan acts differently compared to Kevin. He even helped defeat the Dark Presence, who was TLR. It goes with Visitor being a good guy originally, but now the Seven's biggest enemy is stealing his identity. Of course, this doesn't exactly work, since Devourer has a cube form, and for this theory, this mini theory at least, he would have to be like a 7 member. So there are holes in that, so that's not exact. Back to the main theory. Why is Last Reality making OG and using corrupted clones of OG characters? I think it is because they are using our greatest enemies, ourselves. The clones would know us in and out, would know how we fight, think, and plan. If they put together an army who knows our next move exactly, then they would be nearly unstoppable. But hey, I could be completely wrong about it. But that is okay. If you have any ideas or comments about my theory,